Roscoe.
Get back! Get back!
Ross, how you doing, buddy? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Ballers to Dundon, where, as always, we're going to have some strong takes and some weak follicles. And if you enjoy today's program, please get off the sidelines. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Spotify, because our heartfelt desire is to spread our aggressive gibberish to as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
How you doing, Roscoe? What's going on?
I'm doing great. I just had lunch.
Nice.
It's a little earlier out here in Arizona. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, new Wonder Bread.
Nice.
Awesome. It was awesome. I'm a Pop-Tart away from perfection.
That
How
sounds
you doing,
good,
buddy?
man.
How you doing, buddy?
I am good. I'm kind of having a big week. I mean,
Ooh, do tell.
well, as you know, Ross, my son graduated from college a couple weeks ago, and he just moved to New York City and started a job, which means that both of my kids now live in New York. And listen, as a parent, you know, I am thrilled. They're employed. They're paying rent. They're finally figuring out how much paper towels cost. But there is one thing that keeps me up at night, and it's not the crime, and it's not the cost of living, and it's not the communist mayor or his jihadist wife. No. It's the fear that one or both of my kids are going to settle there permanently, and then one day I will have grandchildren who are New York sports fans.
God forbid.
Can you imagine?
God forbid.
You spend decades raising your family with the values and the principles, and then one Thanksgiving, your granddaughter shows up wearing a Yankees hat.
Oh.
And now Grandpa has to decide whether to give the precious angel a hug or to rip that offensive garbage off her little head. And honestly, I was thinking, honestly, the Yankees aren't even the most horrible scenario. What if your grandson is a Jets fan? And then he's like, Grandpa, this is our year. And you're like, kiddo, I've been hearing that from Jets fans since the Clinton administration. And it's not even an insult to the kid. It's a concern, because if someone in your bloodline comes out as a Jets fan, that would be like hearing that they just got diagnosed with something. It's horrible, right? I mean, Ross, listen, you're in the same boat. Your kids both live in New York, which means that we could both be one generation away from family group texts filled with Yankees highlights. How do you feel about that, man?
So I've thought long and hard about this. I've had a little bit of head start on you. And I just, I weigh costs and benefits. And no offense, my friend, but I'd rather be a Yankees fan than a Lakers fan. So in some ways, you're actually doing better. Because if your grandkid was a Lakers fan, I would have a harder time with that. Second, honestly, I just look at it as just another way of making sure I don't have to give them any of their inheritance. And I can keep spending the money myself.
See, I go the other way. I think, like, I guess, if that happens, I would have to do what every loving grandparent has done for generations, which is just to bribe the little bastards with cold hard cash. You know what I mean? It's like, here's $50, honey. Go out back and burn the Yankees hat.
Yeah.
But Grandpa, Mommy doesn't allow me around fire. And that's why we won't tell her. Okay, here's a book of matches. Go out back and earn your money.
But to me,
We'll see how you feel. We'll see how you feel.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if my kids get married.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In today's day and age, it's just something I've been thinking about, and
I think it's fair.
It brings fear into my heart. Now, let us get right to everyone's favorite segment, which, of course, as we know, is a douchebag of the week. You're going to go first. Why don't you hit me with your stellar douche this week in sports?
I have another great one.
All right.
His name, in case you don't know, because, again, I seem to get the no-brainers, Brandon Ayuk. Wow, what a douche. Let me give you a little background on Brandon. His first-round pick in 2020 by the 49ers. And he ultimately became the number one receiver for the Niners. And in fact, in 2023, he had 75 catches for over 1,300 yards. Great. But then, as oftentimes we see with football players especially, he held out in 2024. It's a very acrimonious holdout. Ultimately, though, leading to a 4-year, $120 million contract for Brandon with the 49ers. However, in that first year in 2024, in Game 7, against the Chiefs, he tore his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. So it was a major, major injury. Had knee surgery, was obviously out for the remainder of 2024. They hoped the Niners to get him back in 2025, but they didn't. You know why? Because Brandon couldn't be contacted. He left the facility, did not do any of the mandatory rehabbing in 2025 on his knee, and no one could get in touch with him, including his coach. He just disappeared. And so the 49ers did the only thing they could. They actually voided the remaining guarantees on his contract because he left the facility in 2025. He wasn't doing anything with the team. And what I think the 49ers assumed would happen is that they would then trade him. Why? Because they don't want to trade him for nothing, because he had been a very valuable receiver before his injury, and also he's a first-round pick. But not surprisingly, there were no real takers. And the other thing you got to remember about Brandon is that he's now missed over a year's worth of playing time, and he's now 28 years old. So not a great thing for him, but apparently Brandon's getting a little bit upset about the situation because this past week he did a social media post. And here's what Brandon said, and I'm going to actually read this to you because I think it's so well said. I mean, this to me is similar to what I would expect to hear from William Shakespeare. It is entitled, If You Scared, Just Do Dat. Not that, but dat, okay? Right. From Brandon. Stop running from the belt. The belt coming. You scared. They scared. Truth is, they scared. You know how I get? They gonna say, okay, yeah, BA did this. BA did that. But did you know that shit allegedly? Allegedly. But what they not gonna say is BA suck at football. Because they know how I get, and they running from that belt that's on the way. It's inevitable. It's coming. Stop running. Stop being a female dog. So he saved us the curse word. Stop being a little cat. Stop running from that belt. I mean,
it is like Shakespeare because I don't understand a word of it.
And if that didn't make teams want him enough, last week there was a warrant issued for Brandon's arrest. You know why? Because he videotaped himself in December driving over the speed limit past the 49ers stadium in order to make a point. And therefore, the police knew that he was going over the speed limit based only on the posted video. Way to go, Brandon. You the man. So what do we have here? Who wouldn't want Brandon? He's 28 years old. He hasn't played in the NFL in 18 months. He's coming off major knee surgery. He's a cancer in the locker room, and he's a complete idiot. He, my friend, is also a douchebag, and the douchebag of the week.
Hysterical.
Unbelievable.
Mine is the new owner of the Portland Trail Blazers, Tom Dundon. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now, for those who missed it, Dundon has spent the last few weeks getting absolutely roasted by the Portland media and the fans. First reports came out that right after he took over the team, he laid off 70 employees. Then fans find out that the team will not be giving out free playoff jerseys anymore, a beloved tradition in Portland going all the way back to the Brandon Roy era. All right. Now, this past week, Dundon was asked about this in an interview, and he didn't bother to make up some bullshit excuse. He chastised the fans, saying they were, quote, focusing on the wrong things. We're trying to win.
Always a great move.
Yes, the age-old connection between championship basketball and cheap cotton T-shirts. As we all know, the big reason Michael Jordan won 6 titles in Chicago is because the Bulls refused to hand out the beefy tees. Now, look, I understand wanting to run a business efficiently, but the rich dude logic kills me. Guys like this spend $4 million upgrading a private lounge nobody asked for. They install imported Italian marble in the owner's suite. They can build a VIP club with artisanal cocktails and Himalayan salt lamps. But the second someone says, hey, maybe let's give the fans some free shirts, suddenly he's the most disciplined financial mind since Warren Buffett. Bullshit. I mean, the amount of money we're talking about for the t-shirts is microscopic in NBA terms. And remember, the fans are paying hundreds for tickets, for parking, for beers, for the overpriced polyester team jerseys. And your line in the sand is the free playoff shirt. Imagine being the new owner. You just laid off dozens of employees. Fans are already mad. And someone says in the meeting, well, at least they like the free playoff shirts. And he's like, nope, not on my watch. Look, people are still going to go to the games, right? But everyone knows this guy now is an asshole. I mean, he doubled down by suggesting that the fans were focusing on the wrong things. Mr. Dundon, let me explain something. The playoff shirts were never about the shirts. The shirts are the rally towel of basketball. The shirts, how every arena turns into a giant sea of one color. The shirts tell fans, you're part of this. We're all together. Nobody takes the shirts home and frames them next to their wedding photo. It's just part of the experience. Well, maybe you do. But somehow Tom Dundon looked at a $4 shirt and decided, let's take one of the traditions fans love most and replace it with absolutely nothing. So congratulations, Tom. Nothing says douchebag like getting 70 people off and then explaining it away because t-shirts were the problem. Look, you may be financially savvy, but you're emotionally tone deaf, and also you are my douchebag of the week.
I mean, it's unbelievable how these guys, both athletes as well as owners, the worst thing you can do is to blame the fans.
Yes, you're focusing on the wrong. We're just trying to win. Like how we're giving out the free t-shirts.
Yeah.
It's just an FU, right?
Yeah, totally.
Speaking about the NBA,
Ooh.
Let's recap. Now, as we do this, last night, the Spurs won Game 3 in New York. Because when this airs, I mean, it takes a day or two to edit because we send it off to the professionals at our main studio in Houston. So I don't know. I'll ask them to speed up the process, but the sound people and the rights and the lawyers, it takes a day or two. So after two games, the Spurs look dead. Right? They look like the kind of dead where ESPN starts running, you know, how the Knicks built a champion before the series is over. You start seeing the promos. Last night, after the first half, Charles Barkley, did you see this? He declared the series over.
Oh, did he?
The Knicks were up by 7, and they're saying, are you saying it's 10? He goes, oh, it's done. And then the Spurs went out, and they completely flipped the script. I mean, for now, right? For now. And here's the thing. I don't think the Knicks lost because Wemby had 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. We both said he was going to do that. Everyone knew he was going to get the numbers. Last night, the Knicks lost because half their supporting cast suddenly went MIA. Bridges gave him 2 points. That's a guy that they traded for 5 first-round draft picks, and he got 2 points in the finals. I mean, that's like, it's horrible.
It's John Starks-esque.
Yeah, for reference, that's exactly one more basket than I scored last night. Karl Anthony Towns gave him 11 points. Meh, not horrible, not great. And the Knicks bench contributed about as much as Spike Lee. I mean, you basically had Brunson 32, Anunoby had 28, but every time they needed someone else, for a rebound or a big possession or a big hoop, there was no one. And to add to that, they started the third quarter 0 for 9 from three-point range. And to the Spurs' credit, they looked good too. It was the first time in the series that they got really meaningful contributions down the stretch from Fox and Castle, and their defense was unbelievable. It seemed like the Knicks were exhausted on every possession. And also, there's one more thing I want to say quickly because I'm monopolizing this, and you'll have things to say, but I thought the Knicks looked super tight. I mean, for 2 weeks, we've heard about Madison Square Garden and the finals are back in New York and the Mecca and the celebrities and the energy and the history. And honestly, they came out tight, man. The crowd was waiting for a coronation and the players looked like they felt the pressure, So here's what I think where we land. I think you were right. I think the Spurs do look a little young. They're unbelievably talented, but late in the games, even last night, they start to confuse urgency with complete chaos. They got the turnovers, they got the forced shots. They are proof, because they're a young team, that the frontal lobe doesn't fully develop till you're 25. So I still think the Knicks are going to win in 6, and this is a big but. I wouldn't be remotely surprised if San Antonio comes back. There's not one team that clearly looks better than the other in this series. You're not like, oh, they should beat them. I think the Knicks are still in control, but I think the Spurs reminded everyone last night that they're not just happy to be there. I think it could become a real series. Your thoughts?
So I want to start with the Barkley thing, because for every comment that Barkley makes like that you're just thinking to yourself, what, he's really not, why is he so popular? Did you see he also said, because the halftime show had Cardi B doing a song or something, and they showed a picture of her, and she was looking very, very well endowed, and Chuck said at halftime, I don't know if it's Cardi B, it looks like it should be some Cardi D's. That's what he said. It should be Cardi D's, and they all started laughing. It was freaking tremendous.
Oh boy.
Anyway, as far as the game itself, totally agree with you. And I think actually we were pretty spot on in our analysis at the beginning. It's what you just said. They're too young. They make mistakes. I also think that Wemby is just not there. He's just not quite there yet. What's going to happen is, if they lose the series, which I still believe they will, I think what's going to happen is he's going to go get in the gym for like a year or two, and then the Spurs are never going to lose. But right now, he gets pushed around. And if you saw last night, I was watching the end of the game, Cat is covering him at the foul line, and Wemby can't even get down low because Cat is sitting there and standing there and won't let him move. And, they're not going to call those fouls, nor do I think they should. It's exactly what we said. And you said something last time, which indirectly you were spot on about. You said you thought one of the advantages that the Spurs had was De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has been awful. Now, except last night, who's the one who hit the key shots? And what people may not remember is when he played for Sacramento, he actually was clutch player of the year, De'Aaron Fox. So he's a clutch player. To me, for the Knicks, the key is Cat. For the Spurs, it's Fox. If Fox plays well, they become a different team. But if Fox doesn't play well, they just don't have, in my opinion, the offense to compete with the Knicks, which is surprising, but the Knicks can get it from more sources. You just said, Bridges had a bad game, et cetera. But Anunoby had a really good game. Cat didn't have a good game, but he had a good game before. That's my point. So I'm sticking with my, I think it could even be Knicks in 5, but it's definitely, I'm still sticking with my Knicks call.
Yep. I think Knicks in 6. I think the Knicks will win the next one, and then it'll be 3-1, and
Spurs
San
will win
Antonio,
one at home.
Yeah, win at home, and then they'll lose. But, like I said, it could be very tight. I wouldn't be surprised no matter what happens. All right. Let's move on. Why are you laughing?
Because I feel like the frontal lobe analysis was quite good. And I think it bears repeating. It's an unknown fact that people should consider more in
yes,
sports analysis.
They're a young team.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna pull from viewer suggestions again. And this is a fun one. This is, what are things that people say to you during a game that you find incredibly annoying?
Well, can I just add something to that?
Yes.
It's actually what they do after your team has lost a big game.
Oh, I just did what.
Oh,
I
okay.
just said what they do during the game. But yours might be after they lose. I just did what people say during the game.
Okay.
That I find annoying. So do you want to go first? Go.
Yeah, mine is after the game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Although this could also be during the game. Quote, when your team is losing and you're screaming at the television from another person, it's only a game. Why are you upset? Now, I don't mean to stereotype, but that will often come from someone who doesn't have a penis. Not always, but that often, and it may even be someone who doesn't have a penis who's your wife. Okay. Answer. Really? Well, that purse is only a piece of leather. Why are you paying hundreds of dollars for it? Answer number 2. Really? Well, that grandparent who died was only one. You still have 3 left. Answer number 3. Really? Why do you care if I watch porn? It's just another type of film. Don't say it's just a game. That's my response.
You know what? I have one that's very similar to that.
Okay.
Because it has to do with screen. Okay. It's when you're watching a game and you're intense and you're yelling at the TV and somebody says, they can't hear you, right?
Yes.
And you're like, oh, thank you. Thank you for clearing that. For a second there, I thought Patrick Mahomes was like, wait a second. Was that someone from Los Angeles telling me to throw the ball away? It's like, all right, like it shouldn't have to be said, but yelling at the TV is a release. It's part of the experience. Nobody walks into a horror movie and says, the girl can't hear you warning her about the basement, right? Nobody walks into a casino and says, yelling at the roulette wheel isn't going to move the ball, right? But somehow in sports, from your own home, the second you yell at a QB on TV to throw the goddamn ball away, there's always one genius in the room who feels compelled to remind you that a television isn't a two-way communication device. Really? Really? Next, you're going to tell me the giant chicken doing push-ups in the end zone isn't a real chicken. It's a guy in a suit. Every sports fan believes deep down that their yelling actually makes a difference. Not all the time. Maybe enough to change, not to change the entire game, but maybe enough to influence a field goal or a foul shot. It's irrational. It's stupid. But you know what? It's being a fan. And if you stop yelling, that could be when the team starts to fall apart. And it's probably not going to happen, but you can't take the risk. You can't take the risk.
Couldn't agree more. Could
All right,
not
next
agree
one.
more. All right,
Go.
My only one is, again, this often will come from someone who's calm and sometimes doesn't, and oftentimes doesn't have a penis, and maybe your wife. Well, there's always next year. Response: why don't you go fuck yourself?
We could all die. And I hope I do die because I can't take the loss. All right.
It's like when you have a problem and your mom says to you, well, at least you have your health. Yeah, right, Mom. You're right. I don't have a brain tumor. But the fact is I'm still dealing with this thing. It sucks. Yeah. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
All right. My last one is when someone says, you're watching an intense game. It's a rivalry. You hate it. And someone's like, I kind of like both teams. And you're like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean you like both teams? This isn't a nature documentary. Pick a fucking side. Every game has risks. Every game has consequences. Every game has winners and losers. And then there's a worse version of it, which is, honestly, I just hope both teams play well. No, that's not how sports work. That's how guidance counselors watch sports. You're supposed to have irrational loyalty. You're supposed to hate one of the other team. You're supposed to hate their wives. You're supposed to spend 3 hours wondering why some 22-year-old backup point guard is personally trying to ruin your life. You know who likes both teams? The guy at the Super Bowl party who came for the nachos. The person who asks, wait, which one is our team again halfway through the third quarter? Right? You know that person. The bonehead who says, I just admire the athleticism. I don't need you to root for my team, but I need you absolutely to hate one of the teams. Because if you're just sitting there calmly appreciating both sides, you are not watching the game, you are auditing it. Stop it. All right, Ross.
Excellent. Excellent, Paul.
I think a lot of people will relate to that. We've all dealt with those people. And usually we bite our tongues. So this was our chance to just fucking lay in.
Good job.
Ross, as always, boom. We start and we finish. We have so many significant things to say that it just flies by. But it was great to see you. You're looking great this week. I can't wait till next week. Hopefully they edit this together at the big home office in Houston. And we get to see it very soon. And we will know by the time this airs how close we were. I'm saying Knicks in 6. You're saying Knicks in 5. All right, buddy. Have a great one.
All right, buddy. Love you.
It was a lot of fun. Take care.
Man, stop running from the belt. The belt coming. You scared? They scared. They scared. They scared. They know how I get. They gonna say, oh yeah, they did this, but they did that. You know that allegedly. But what they not gonna say? There's